California adopts drought rules, outlaws water wasting with fines up to $500. Regulations adopted by the State Water Resource Control Board prohibit overwatering yards, washing cars without a shutoff nozzle, and hosing down sidewalks or watering grass within 48 hours after rainfall. The main reason I wanted to bring this up is not only climate change and drought and stuff that I remember, California drought, having to deal with my entire life living out here. Seems like there's always a drought. But I've also had the question, being somebody who grew up in the Coachella Valley, Palm Springs area, for those that don't know, about 2 hours east of LA. It is a vacation spot. We get a lot of people that are here through the winter months, and then everybody leaves during the summer months. But what this valley has that is very unique to, I believe, the world is that we have over 130 golf courses. And what I see growing up out here is that all those golf courses stay green year-round. Doesn't matter if there's a drought. I remember the last drought. I was moving to Denver. I believe it was 2015. Big drought stuff in California. Off and on. It's like fire season now, except for fire seasons used to be every once in a while. Now they're a yearly thing. Drought is probably going to be similarly the same. But you will see just large sections of land being watered. And that's not even the golf courses. Those are like parking lots for, I specifically was the tennis, where they do there's a tennis tournament that goes on. Big, the Parabas in Indian Wells, a big tennis tournament. Huge event that happens. And the parking areas are grassed parking areas. And those are watered. Because you got to have, we're in a desert, by the way. For those that don't know, the Coachella Valley is a desert. I believe LA is a desert as well. And it's a desert because it doesn't rain a lot. There's not a lot of lush greenery in a desert. Rains very sparingly. Plants are designed, cactuses, to soak that up like a camel and store it. This is not an area that is welcoming to grass, especially the types of lush grass that grow on golf courses and, in some cases, parking lots. But this stuff is aimed at residents, which makes sense. I've been doing this stuff, not wasting water. Something that has been a part of my life, my entire life growing up here, being conscious of how much water I'm using. Not just letting the hose run. If you've got a broken sprinkler, you got to fix it right away. But when you're comparing that, and I don't see anything, I don't see any golf courses going brown. All of these golf courses, which primarily nobody in this that lives in this valley has access to. You have to be a member, right? You have to have a certain financial status to be able to afford even being able to look at this grass. And some people live there. There are gated communities. There's resorts. Over 130 golf courses. Now you're telling me golf courses, 130 golf courses are probably doing, let's just say, 100x for what the residents are doing. Because most of the residents don't have lawns. A lot of people that live in the desert have, because of this constant drought stuff, they have desert-scape front yards. Not all of them. There's still grass here and there. People still have lawns. But you want to compare that to over 130 golf courses. Courses. Not like some rich asshole that has a putting green in his backyard. golf courses in a desert. So that's when I put a comment on this post. It's like, hey, what about the golf courses? Like, I hope that golf courses are held to a certain criteria as well, and this is not just a thing that's like, oh, it's just placed on the lower class people. And some troll, came back at me with this story of his friend that is a groundskeeper of a golf course, and he is the best. This groundskeeper friend of his is a wizard when it comes to conserving water. This golf course gets the exact amount of water it needs to flourish at its peak. No more, no less. That's how good this groundskeeper friend of this guy is, this troll. Oh, and by the way, he says, not like it rain. He mentioned that it rains all the time in L.A. He's like made a comment about all these lawns in Beverly Hills, and how much it rains in L.A. It's like, motherfucker, it does not rain. That is why we are in a drought. L.A. and where I live, Coachella Valley, does not rain. These are deserts. So this argument of it rains all the time, it's like, nuh-uh. Like, even in non-drought times, these are still deserts. If it rained all the time, there would be lush greenery. Have you been to Portland? Have you been to Washington? Have you been to places where it rains all the time? Look how much green shit is around. So it's clear he's a troll, right? He's just somebody defending the privileged, the golf courses. God forbid somebody talks shit about golf courses, so this guy is defending their honor on Instagram. But this is where I discovered this new feature that trolls can implement on their feed, right? I mean, you can make your thing private, which most trolls, I think every person that's ever talked shit to me on Instagram has a private account. So that's the first step when you're a troll. Get a private account. Generally, the icon, their profile picture is not a picture. It's the default silhouette that Instagram gives you. So it's probably not their main account. They're too scared to, like, I have my name, Ray Taylor. So if I go to LA Times post about the drought and I make a comment about golf courses, you are seeing me, Ray Taylor, making that comment. But with trolls, you don't get to see their face, you don't get to see their posts, you don't get access to that. But also, when they make a comment, when they make a rebuttal, they make it look like it's an unchallenged comment. Like nobody has a comeback for what their bullshit, this story of their friend who's a groundskeeper. Because there's a thing where people can't reply to you. They can't use your name, they can't tag your name in a comment, which means they can't reply. Because that's the @reply system on Instagram. So I had no way to come back at this guy. And there's no way anybody could come back at this guy. Just forever, it's like his word is the final word in this situation. So stupid. It is such a stupid feature. And of course, Instagram's owned by Facebook, and Facebook loves to support those people. Loves to support those people. So yeah, I'm curious about golf courses. Now, somebody else said they use a lot of gray water, which I want to know what gray water is, and I want to know how legitimate that is. I think that that's just a bunch of wealthy people that live in those places and get to visit those places, and wealthy people aren't living in the same world as the rest of us. The rest of us have to pay their taxes. The rest of us have to suffer and deal with droughts because they're too rich to be bothered. How dare you? It's a game. Golf is a game that rich people get to play. Maybe there's a public course somewhere. I mean, if you're poor, you can kind of play if you want. It's possible. But it's like if you want to be able to go, it's not like surfing. You just go to a beach It's not like the coastlines are owned. They're not gated off surf like coastlines where you have to be a member of some kind of thing to be able to even surf there. Golf courses are for rich people, which is why it took so long for anybody that wasn't a white man to play it. Like, that is a very recent thing where they allow women and people of color to even participate. So whatever. That guy virtue signaling to the rich people with his story about his friend.